Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's ETAPRIME back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at the all-new ROG Swift OLED PG32 UCDP. Definitely a mouthful, but what we've got here is ROG's all-new 32-inch 4K OLED gaming monitor. And I'll tell you, they've packed so many features into this, it's kind of hard to wrap my head around everything that's going on with it. But, getting right down to the unboxing, everything's packed up really nicely. We even get this nice little carrying case for all of the cables. And it looks like the box itself can be used as kind of a build table. And yeah, they definitely made assembly as easy as possible. I just removed that accessory tray. Now we can put the stand on, really easy, kind of snaps right in. Now all I really need to do is attach the feet here. It's got a single thumb screw, goes on super easily. So assembly on this thing is a breeze, and inside of the box along with the monitor and power supply, they've also sent along some really nice cabling here. HDMI cable, display cable, USB Type-B cable, and we've got USB Type-C because this does support USB Type-C video in and 90-watt PD fast charging out. So this is going to be great for connecting handhelds to or laptops that use USB Type-C charging ports. Since we're working with an ROG branded product, they had to throw a little bit of RGB on here. And down at the very bottom, this is pretty cool. It magnetically attaches and there's kind of a clear see-through ROG eye on it. So it does illuminate the desk itself, but they do send along some extras so you could actually create your own logo if you wanted to. And around back, we've got the big RGB ROG logo. This does support Aura Sync, and from the OSD on the monitor itself, we've actually got a few different settings to use. So you can adjust the RGB on this without having another Aura Sync device. Around back here, we've got our power button, key button, and a navigation nub. That's what I call it. This is just so we could easily navigate the built-in OSD. And when it comes to I/O, from the left to the right, we've got our power input, 2 HDMI version 2.1 ports, 1 DisplayPort 1.4, USB Type-C, and this does support alt mode. Plus, we've got up to 90 watts of power out of this. The USB hub here is USB 3.2 Gen 1. We've also got a 3.5mm audio jack and optical audio out. I definitely wanted to cover all of the features of this new OLED panel from ASUS, but there's just so much here. I mean, it's pretty amazing what they've packed into this unit. Basically, what we've got here is a 32-inch OLED panel. It'll do up to 240 Hz at 4K, or they've got a dual mode built in, which will allow us to do 1080 at up to 480 Hz. Custom heatsink for that OLED panel. ASUS OLED Care, so it's got pixel cleaning built in. It's also got a reminder to let you know when you need to clean it. I believe you can also set up auto cleaning with this unit. 99% DCI P3, 0.03 millisecond response time. Display HDR 400. You can also set this up for uniform brightness if you want to. Now, personally, I think it kind of dims it just a bit when you go uniform with these OLEDs. I kind of like leaving this off, but it's really up to you in the end. Auto KVM, and with this, basically what we can do is have a keyboard and mouse plugged in. Let's say we have two PCs connecting. When we switch to, let's say, HDMI 1, that keyboard and mouse is going to work with that PC. Then when we switch over to HDMI 2, it's also going to work there. It's a pretty cool little feature. Plus, we've got USB Type-C video in with up to 90-watt PD fast charging out. I've mentioned dual mode, and with the hotkey on the back, we can set this up to automatically go right there for us. So again, 4K up to 240 Hz or 1080p at 480. Let's say you're playing your favorite FPS and you just really want to up that frame rate. Press that hotkey, it'll bring us up to 480 Hz on this panel. This also has their AI visual assistant built in, and this is actually pretty cool technology. You can set a custom color profile if you want to, and usually that's what I do. There's also a bunch of presets we can use, but you can use the AI Visual Beta to kind of adjust it on the fly while you're playing a game. Now, of course, since we've got a high-end panel, it does support variable refresh rate. So we've got support for NVIDIA's G-Sync, AMD FreeSync, Adaptive Sync 240, and Adaptive Sync 480. First impressions here, this is definitely the best looking monitor that I've ever been able to test on the channel, and I've tested a few, but 99.9% of them have been IPS panels, and it's really hard to compare because with this OLED, I mean, we get those super deep blacks, bright whites, and very vibrant colors, and I personally love a little more saturation than some other people might like, so I've set this up with a custom profile. This is how I want to have it set up, and I think it looks really, really good. The OSD can easily be accessed from the monitor itself. Remember, we've got that mid button and two hotkeys on the side. So we can get in here, we can adjust the brightness, we can change the color profile. Super easy to do from here. But this monitor also supports the ASUS Display widget, which makes it really easy to control everything from within our operating system. Brightness, contrast, shadow boost, you can adjust the whole color profile directly from here, or you could use some of the pre-programmed presets that they have. Personally, I love this feature because it makes it so much easier to adjust everything. We've also got some game mode features, like an on-screen crosshair. There's a few different presets for this, and you can fully adjust it across the screen if you need to. On-screen timer, so you can set up a countdown timer right here, be up in the left-hand corner, or again, can be fully adjusted. There's also an on-screen FPS counter with two modes. You can go with just text or text and graph, and screen adjustment directly here from our game mode settings. We've also got OLED Care, which is going to allow us to do that pixel cleaning. It'll give us a reminder, and you can set this up to be timed if you want it to. We've also got multi-display support up to 3 different devices. So we can actually have 3 devices showing at one time on this screen here, and we've got a bunch of different layouts to choose. So we can go side by side, vertically, horizontal, and this monitor also supports picture-in-picture mode. And I did want to give you a look at this because I thought it was pretty neat, especially with a smaller device like, let's say, a handheld gaming device or even your phone. I've got the Steam Deck OLED plugged into the monitor using USB Type-C. I've also set up a hotkey just to go into picture-in-picture mode. Now we can also just swap the displays completely, but having it up in the top right-hand corner with a smaller device, like I mentioned, your phone, it would come in really handy. But one of my favorite features here for the display widget is the ability to program hotkeys for different functions on the monitor. So if I wanted to set it up for, let's say, opening up the built-in OSD, Control-Alt-0, I've got it set up right there. So we've got the built-in OSD open up now. I've also set up hotkeys to control the brightness, but you can go down the list. Saturation, contrast, you can also set up hotkeys for that picture-in-picture mode, which I did earlier for the Steam Deck. So it's really nice to have this feature built in. While you're playing a game, you really don't have to be distracted. You can actually just use the hotkeys you've set up to control the monitor. Firmware updates can also be handled by this widget. So once a firmware update is released, we can go check for a new software update. It'll automatically install it for us. I've been messing around with this monitor for a few days now. Right now, we're actually in 480 Hz mode, so it's only 1080p. Forza Horizon 5, we're in extreme settings. I've got this connected to my main PC. It's got an RTX 4090. Unfortunately, we can't quite hit 480 Hz. So what I want to do here is go back up to 4K, and we can easily change that mode on the fly. So we'll just use the hotkey here, come out of FPS boost mode. Now we're going to go to 4K 240 Hz, and I've played Forza Horizon 5 quite a bit on PC and the Xbox Series X. I've never seen this game look this good. I'm at extreme settings right now, and of course you will need good hardware to push it this hard. But it's pretty amazing what a good display can do. Again, yeah, I mean, I've played this, I've put so many hours into this game, and it has never looked this good before. Those super deep blacks, really vibrant colors. When I first started this game up on the monitor at 4K Extreme, I was blown away by how good it looked. And the final thing I wanted to take a look at here was just USB Type-C video input. Even with the Steam Deck, I was using a dock with HDMI, but here we've got the ROG Ally X. I'm just going to plug into one of those USB Type-C ports up top. I went with the 3.2 port. Even though I've got my other computer plugged in, it automatically detected this over USB Type-C, and KVM will work. So right now, I can actually use my keyboard and mouse with the ROG Ally X without that dongle being plugged into the device itself. It's actually plugged into the monitor. Then when I swap back over to my main PC, it'll work over there. I've also tested my Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra in DeX mode on this. As soon as I plug it in, it's detected, and we've got that full screen experience on this display. Overall, I'm really loving this new OLED panel from ROG. It doesn't come in cheap. I mean, these panels aren't cheap to create. It's definitely the best looking monitor that I've ever been able to test. And if you're interested in learning a little more, I will leave some links in the description. And keep in mind, I mean, this is basically a one-stop shop for all of your devices. If you've got a PS5, Xbox, all of that's going to work with it, plus your Android device, as long as it supports USB Type-C video out, 90-watt charging out. It'll charge up that ROG Ally X pretty quickly, works with the Steam Deck, obviously. So something like this can cover a lot of your devices, not just your gaming PC. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments below. And like always, thanks for watching.